Welcome everyone to the Galactica Corecast, a space for every present and future Galactica Network citizen to have some fun, chat with the team, and learn everything you need to know about the very first Cypher State. Now, before we start, as usual, we need to give you a bit of a disclaimer. Myself and anyone up on stage from the team or anyone else, we are your guides to navigating the Cypher State, but we are not your financial advisors. In addition, any guests that do decide to come up and request to speak, all of their opinions are their own, and nothing on this space constitutes financial or investment advice. So please don't take it as such. So now we have that out of the way, our usual little disclaimer, just to make sure you guys don't come up and sue us. It's great. We would like to just introduce our panel. My name is Citizen42.gala within the Cypher State, otherwise known as Dave. If we've got a couple of members on our speaker panel today from the team. I've got our regular co-host, regular speaker, AStar. So please, if you could just introduce yourself, my friend.
Thanks, Dave. Hello, everyone. My name is Frederik. On Twitter and Discord and other platforms, you can also find me as AStar. I'm one of the software engineers and blockchain engineers working on the Galactica team. I have background in computer science and an interest in smart contracts. And this is also what I'm working on at Galactica. So a bit of the smart contracts, the zero knowledge circuits, and wallet integration in Metamask. This is kind of my main focus area right now.
He's a gentleman and a scholar. That's what I'll say. Okay, so we also have on stage today a very special guest, Galactica Network CTO. Welcome, Mike T. How are you doing, man?
Hi, Dave. I'm fine, thank you.
I'm really glad to have you up, dudes. We're really happy to have you. We're going to try and initiate you in a very gentle manner.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to me to be here. It's my first time, I think, in such an activity, so it might be quite difficult doing it for the first time, but I will try my best. Thanks.
Okay, so that's code, guys. So make sure that you come up here, you request to speak, and you prepare yourselves with like the toughest questions you possibly can. You know, make Mike and make Frederik sweat. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys. We've already got a comment in the space from Mariama, and I've just seen you join the Discord as well. So welcome, Mariama. I really appreciate you coming on to the space as well as joining the Discord. So welcome. Thank you. Right then, guys. So let's have a little look here. I think what we'll just do is we'll just do another quick reminder before we go on to the new segment. We've really glad to see so many people in the space already. If you could all just take a moment of your time to jump down to the comment section of this space, give it a like and a retweet. If you have any questions that you don't that you just want to ask us for us to read out, please make use of the comment section. Otherwise, we really appreciate if you just request to speak. We're not going to bite. We're very friendly, and we'll answer any question we can as completely as possible. So just request to speak whenever you wish. The only other thing I just want to draw your attention to is the pinned tweet. This is the Galactica Network Cypher State campaign. This is your way of getting your Galactica Network citizenship in very early. So all you need to do is just provide us with a few social contributions in the form of just working your way through a Zeely campaign and just getting manually approved for a few things. And you'll find yourself ranking up quite quickly in the Discord, which will allow you to gain your Galactica Network citizenship or gain participation in one of the earliest distribution waves. So that's how you get. This is basically the primary method of you getting in early at the present time with Galactica Network. So please just take a look at that pinned tweet and see if you find it interesting. Okay, everyone. As always, we're going to start the Corecast today with some of the latest news. The first on that list right now is Larry Fink. I don't know if anyone is aware of who Larry Fink is, but he's the CEO of BlackRock. And so BlackRock is, we've talked about them before in a couple of previous spaces. They have been trying to get a spot Bitcoin ETF through past the SEC's guardrails. They've not been particularly friendly about that, but they might be getting closer. But Larry Fink, the CEO, has basically said that it might not actually make as much of a difference as the wider crypto community is trying to state it will, as far as price action and liquidity. So I think it's just an interesting opinion from a guy who's trying to get the spot ETF through. That it won't really have as big an effect as perhaps the market is expecting. So I don't know what you think about this, Frederik, because I've been reading through this story, and this guy actually previously dismissed Bitcoin as an index of money laundering, and he's gone all the way up to trying to get the first spot ETF through, and now he's saying that it won't make that much difference. I don't know what your take is on this. He seems all over the place to me.
Yeah, really hard to tell. I guess he's in such a powerful position and probably has a lot of different advisors telling him stuff. So I think it's not only his own opinion, but maybe there's much more going on, like strategy behind announcements or something like this. Yeah, but in general, I think it's really nice that such a big company as BlackRock is trying to go more in the direction of Bitcoin and then do this spot Bitcoin ETF. And but on the other hand, I also saw one of the titles of the news, which confused me a bit because it was a bit too much clickbait in my opinion. I think the title was something like Larry Fink says Bitcoin's digitalizing gold. In another sign, BlackRock is all in on crypto. And I think this is also overstating it a bit too much, because if I saw correctly, I think BlackRock is controlling like 10 trillion US dollars of assets.
Yeah,
and crypto is only 1 trillion. I think it's both ways that the crypto news is maybe overstating it a bit too much. Maybe Larry Fink is understating it a bit too much. Maybe the real answer is somewhere in between.
Yeah, I completely agree. I will say that it is, in my opinion, at least very bullish that so many huge industry players are now at least talking about it. So I think that's the bullish thing to take from all this, everyone. It's the fact that we've got BlackRock, we've got Fidelity, we've got just about every big money manager and talking about crypto and talking about ETFs, talking about making this stuff mainstream, as well as we have people trying to governments and central banks talking about tokenization across the board. I know a lot of the regulatory stuff can be scary to a lot of people in the crypto space, but generally speaking, the fact that we are all talking about this rather than talking about banning it is a very, very bullish sign, in my opinion. Mike, I don't know if you have an opinion on that kind of on the regulatory side of things and how things are generally going as far as crypto adoption, that kind of thing.
Well, this is not my part of it. I think I don't have anything to say on this topic.
Yeah, no worries at all, man. That's fair enough. Okay, so we'll just move on to the next topic then, guys. I'll just remind you, everyone, that you are free to request to speak at any point during these spaces. The Galactica Corecast, the Friday space, is designed for the community. So you are welcome to come up at any point or ask a question in the comments. That's absolutely fine too. Yeah, so please do. So the second topic that we have today is basically the UK. It's a financial lobby group, UK Finance. They have issued a report in the UK basically saying that the UK could lose its standing as a global financial powerhouse if it fails to adopt tokenization in general. And they're saying that it could add billions to the country's economy if it's embraced and implemented correctly, assuming that the UK comes through with its planned regulations. I see that it could. They're pretty far ahead as far as regulations go, along with the EU. and basically they're really blazing ahead of the US as far as the regulatory concerns are going. So they're basically just saying that the UK, they're advocating that the UK government prioritize tokenized markets. And hopefully this means not just CBDCs and that kind of thing, but also traditional blockchain markets and integrating all of this stuff seamlessly. I hope that's the goal. We'll have to see how that does. So yeah, that's just more integration from government and institutional sides. Basically, just reinforcing the fact that I think that the institutions are finally really coming on board, even if it's they're being dragged by their heels, as it were. I feel like they're being they've basically got no other choice. What do you think, Frederik?
Yeah, I like your opinion, but personally I don't have much to say about it. I think it's really nice to see that traditional institutions such as this are at least acknowledging the potential of the cryptocurrency space and also experimenting with it. And I'm really curious to see what comes out of it. And I think it's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one of the reasons why Galactica Network exists, is because obviously you can't really. Well, I mean, we were trying to get this balance of privacy, compliance, identity, all this stuff on chain in a way that so you can transact and you can be compliant, you can be private without having to jump through too many regulatory hoops and too many government loops and all this kind of thing. So yeah, it's I think Galactica is going to be one of the primary ways, well, the kind of system that would allow us to be compliant while maintaining at least some of the ethos that we've tried to maintain in the crypto space. Sorry, Mike, do you have one?
Yeah, I think that we are basically having just two ways of the further development of the crypto space and crypto economy. The first one is that we comply somehow with the regulations, and the second part is basically not going up. It's, I think, the death of the crypto, and I think it will just move to the gray sphere of the money, and it's not something that we want. It's not where we want to see the crypto.
So what you're saying is like if we mess this up, then we end up as like a grey market.
Yes. I think that there are no ways.
Centralized software is part of it.
Yes, because governments, I think they are already preparing some regulations and some more strict regulations, I think, for this sphere, and they want to work with it, but they want to, keep it.
I think if they could stop it and slow it down, they would. And they're just trying their best to maintain as much control as possible. I think that's probably fair, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So guys, this is pretty much why we're on the mission. I think that's probably why everyone in the Web3 space is on the mission, to be honest. We're trying to ensure that the concepts of self-sovereignty, the concepts of privacy, they all still exist after regulation comes in. And it's massively important, and it's something that's most of the Galactica team are very passionate about, as you can tell from Mike T there. Okay, guys. So we have a couple of other little pieces of information here. Let's have a little look here. Yeah, I think it's just the Bank of England has come up with they basically teamed up with a wallet maker. Basically, they're trying to implement some form of privacy into the CBDC space, which is very bullish, I would say. Like if governments are even considering privacy at this point, in any form of real in any kind of real privacy at this point is very good in my opinion. They've partnered with it to try and consider privacy, but they've had a bid process for this. So there's been an awful lot of proof of concepts for sample wallets for CBDCs, and apparently this wallet maker has come up on top. Currently, at least, it's a 5-month contract. So I guess it will mostly just be research, and we'll see how that one ends up. And they're trying to figure out the end-to-end user journey for privacy in the CBDC world. As far as I've seen on CBDCs, privacy, like the amount of privacy you actually get is going to be absolutely critical. I don't know if you know any more than I do than on the kind of level of privacy you will actually end up with in any of the CBDCs that are coming out, Frederik.
Yeah, I'm not so detailed on any of the CBDCs, but I found this the story interesting that the Bank of England is choosing this wallet, and I actually looked in the article and then saw it's a wallet called, I think it's Nuggets, and the website was really interesting me because it has a lot of technologies and buzzwords that are actually quite similar to Galactica. So they're also trying to do a decentralized self-sovereign identity with zero knowledge and a combination of privacy and compliance. So I think this is really nice, and I want to learn more about them. But on the other hand, the website also wasn't so clear on how it actually works. So it seems to be more targeting businesses instead of targeting users as we are. So yeah, I'm quite interesting how this turns out and what the Bank of England is in the end doing with them. I think it's cool that they're trying out these technologies, and it's also amazing to see for me how many other companies are starting to go in this direction, and gives me some confidence that what we are trying to build is actually something that also others agree upon, that it has such large potential.
Yeah, 100%. I'm very, very shocked. I'm not shocked, but I'm very, very happy that this is being discussed. Again, this is the kind of stuff that you want to see, you want to see governments discussing in this space. Because, like, if you told me like a year ago, maybe that governments would be discussing privacy alongside compliance with their CBDCs, alongside like using zero knowledge tech to ensure that would have blown my mind, to be fair. It remains to be seen on the implementation side of things. But this is exactly what we need. The problem is obviously the self-sovereign side of things won't be there, which is another aspect that Galactica Network is really trying to maintain. That's not just self-sovereignty of your assets, by the way. Obviously, with everyone in the space, obviously you've all got wallets, you've all got crypto wallets. You all probably, I say hopefully, you don't hold all of your assets on exchanges, and you self-sovereignly hold your assets as well. But it's something that we are also trying to make sure that you can self-sovereignly hold your data in the form of ZK proofs in your Metamask wallet, which is also incredibly important. So you don't actually have, so you have the ability to selectively disclose your data in a private manner from your wallet. So you self-sovereignly hold your data, and you can just provide it to trusted parties at your desire, not at like someone else's, and it's not held by anyone else. It's not held by like some social media company or some conglomerate of companies that just have bought your data or anything like that. You own it, and you decide where it goes. So I think that's incredibly important. So I think it's Frederik and Mike T are working on these, are working on the Metamask Snap extension that will allow this for you to hold your data. I don't know if you want to expand any more on that, guys.
Maybe I can give a very short overview for people who maybe do not know the system already so much. Basically, what we're doing is we take a popular wallet that's already out there, Metamask, that everyone can use in this browser to to use cryptocurrencies and also hold this cryptocurrency in their own self-custody. And Metamask is publishing a new system that is called Snaps, which is basically a plugin or extension system for Metamask. And what we are doing is we are developing such a snap that is added to Metamask so that it can live inside the sandbox provided by Metamask and does all the storage and computation in the system. So therefore, it's running on the user's machine in his browser, where the data doesn't leave to some servers on the internet. And the user has complete control over it through MetaMask and the confirmations that come up. And we use the system to put the zero-knowledge certificates in there. So on Galactica, you can get some documents certified about your personal data. So for example, that you have completed a KYC, know your customer process. And this data is then first reviewed by a KYC center as it always needs to be to make sure that the data is actually legit. And then the user can take it in the self-custody and import it in this wallet. And the special thing on Galactica is that you can use zero-knowledge proofs to prove to some external party, like a smart contract on the blockchain, or it can even be off-chain, that you have a valid KYC. So this proves that you are a human, and you can even prove statements about the data in the zero-knowledge KYC. For example, being at least 18 years old. And zero-knowledge cryptography helps that you can prove these statements while keeping the underlying data, so for example your age, private. So what you only disclose is that the statement you proved is valid and nothing more. And this is really where the magic of combining compliance with privacy comes from.
I think that maybe one impressive thing about it is that you can use it even not on blockchain-related websites. I mean, when you generate a proof and proving some condition, like you're 18 years old or something else, you have two steps. The first one is generating the proof itself, and the second one is basically optional, is uploading the proof to the network. And if you're working with some D apps, for example, you will probably need to upload the proof to the network just to make it available to those apps. But if you, for example, just using your KYC on some Web2 website that is not connected to blockchain anyhow, you still can use your proof to prove something, basically to share your personal data or just a part of it. And in case the service is working with Gala, I mean, it just believes that Gala is providing the correct data about the user. In that case, you can use it and without publishing it to the network, which is, I think, cool, because we can get rid of a lot of, I don't know, places when you need to pass KYC strictly on the website, strictly for this service, when you need to confirm that you are like not a resident of this country or that country, and all this stuff can be simplified, so you don't need to show the passport to different third parties. You just need to use your MetaMask or the own wallet of Galactica when you will come up with it.
Yeah, well said.
Sorry, go Frederik, please.
Well said. I completely agree, and I think this is also one of the really huge advantages of the system, that you can prove the statements like having KYC without actually needing to share your data to some company. So you can prove to, I don't know, Amazon that you're over 18 years old without giving them your name or age. And this then also ensures that there are less leaks of your data, that the personal data cannot be abused, and so on.
Yes, because we all know these hacks that every company get hacked at some point. I mean, the big company, and the passwords and all the personal data goes to the internet since that. And I don't know, are you familiar with that? But there are many bots in Telegram if you find them, and you can search yourself by your mobile number and see how much is how much information about you is in the internet available to everyone just after like entering your mobile phone. That's crazy. That's not okay, I think, about the current internet.
Yeah, I think very few people are fully aware of just how not private you are if you give up certain pieces of information, even if they're across platforms. There are too many like data aggregators and scrapers and AI combining everything together for you to be fully private if you're not careful. So yeah, be safe with your data, everyone, and hopefully systems such as Galactica will provide this incredible method of maintaining your privacy, even as Mike T says, off-chain. I wasn't fully aware of I didn't really consider the kind of use cases there, but it's huge. If you have a trusted provider such as Galactica providing this attestation of attestation of notarization of data, then that could be used just about everywhere and prevent you having to give away all this data. And can again just maintaining this sovereign state of data, always with you. The choice is always with you, and that's really what matters on this network. Okay, guys, I'm just going to do a very quick reset of the space. I see we've got a couple of requests. So I'm just going to see what we've got here. Just 2 seconds. I'd just like it again, please, if you could just check on the in the comment section below. You could give us a like and a retweet. We'd really appreciate that. It gets the space out to more people, as well as the recording. It's really nice to get the recording out to more people. If you want to request to speak, please do so. We're here for you. We're trying to, with these Friday spaces especially, we're essentially trying to provide you a direct to and fro with the team. So you have this opportunity to speak to us, to ask questions, especially with guys like Mike T and Frederik, our technical team. So you can ask just about anything you want, and we will answer it in as complete a way as possible. Again, if you could check the pinned tweet, that would be very helpful, mostly for yourselves. It gives you the Galactica Network Cypher State campaign. All you need to do is join Discord, and you will have the opportunity to also join the Zeely campaign that will allow you to get in early to the Galactica Network citizenship program. So this will get you in a very good stead as far as your universal basic income and your validator rewards if you choose to run a validator. So it's definitely worth checking out if you want to do this kind of thing on Galactica Network. Okay, everyone. I'd just like to point out, guys, we also have a couple of members of our, I think we have both of our Espada rank in the audience. We have Send the Slayer. So shout out to Send the Slayer, and shout out to Planet Steak. So thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate you coming on. Okay, let's have a little look down here. So right now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the Q&A section. So you guys have over the weeks, you've provided us with a lot of questions, an awful lot of questions, and we've been trying to get through them on both the on Discord, on Twitter, and through these spaces when we can. So we're really enjoying those, and we'll go into that section in just a minute. But in fact, we've just got a new speaker up on stage, Native. Really good to see you again, man. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, boys. Yeah, good to see you guys back. I just had an opinion on the European digital wallet. So you guys released a pretty good article too, a Medium article, which is really interesting. But it's good to see them stepping in the right direction, I guess, looking at privacy in regards to CBDCs. I'm so skeptical on governments, as I'm sure a lot of people are. I mean, what's to stop them from, a future government from revoking privacy infrastructure that may be already in place? And, I feel like there's always that possibility that they're just lowering people into that false sense of security and trying to be more accepting of CBDCs, which I think have a very negative connotation to them in general. So I'm so skeptical on them. And in the country where I'm from, there's a saying that goes, "You can't polish a turd," and I feel like that's exactly what they're doing here.
We have the same say. I love it. And obviously, that's the entire problem with centralized control of any kind, really. Government is about everything, and that goes for both your financial and your social capital. You just can't trust other people with it, and that's why self-sovereignty is so damn important. And why Galactica exists is, the government and the institutions, they will come up with their own systems. They are coming up with CBDCs. They will in some way infringe on your privacy and on your self-sovereignty for sure. So it's good to have a decentralized self-sovereign option in the form of Galactica Network, where you can have this on-chain, off-chain link with zero-knowledge tech, so you can keep your privacy while still maintaining compliant in a regulatory fashion, and transacting in any way you wish on-chain, with the addition of like a proper reputation framework, allowing us to have this this vision of decentralized society come alive on-chain. So it's having this decentralized option compared to the institutional government option is so important.
Yeah, totally agree with that, man. I love what Galactica are doing in relation to this space. And look, thanks for the opportunity to speak, guys. Loving the space. Cheers.
You're welcome, man. You're always welcome up. We really appreciate coming up, Native. Really. Okay, guys. So if our guys are ready, Frederik, Mike, I'm just gonna ask a couple of questions that have come up in previous weeks, and we'll see if we can give you guys an answer that makes sense. We're not always going to be able to answer all of these questions completely. Sometimes, the technical side of things just isn't complete in the regard to some of these questions. Sometimes the knowledge just isn't there just yet, but we will do our best to be as complete as possible. So one of the first ones that's come up is that, okay, I'll just read out the question and then I'll summarize a little bit. So the questioner asks, in the Twitter space with Human Node, this was some time ago, the subject of governance was raised, which could use a hybrid process between a purely capitalist approach and a democratic one. So with a dose of meritocracy and civil resistance. In the space, you agreed about the need for a 50-50 approach, and the concept of level of commitment was discussed, particularly in terms of staking tokens with duration. So the questioner is very interested in this subject and wishes to kind of know, which leads him to ask if you've already shared your reasons and motivations for believing that the minimum of 50% ratio is the right one, and how to solve the problem of liquid staking, which in a way gets around the staking constraint. Now, I'm afraid I'm not 100% technical enough to answer that question myself, but hopefully, Frederik, you might have a better idea on that one. Maybe Mike?
Yeah, so maybe first about the parameters. The parameters are still, I think, in a lot of places up for debate. We have a set of parameters that we think are good for a start, but then we want to build up also the governance structure to be able to change those parameters as we, as an ecosystem, learn more about it, how it behaves and how it should improve. And about liquid staking, I have to look into my notes shortly, because I looked it up, but to be honest, I forgot it again. I can come back to you in a minute.
That's okay. That's no problem. Like I say, sometimes, guys, we're just not going to have the information to hand to answer all of these questions. We will simply try our best. We've got plenty of questions to answer in any case. So yeah, we'll carry on and we'll just asking this question and see how we do. Let's see here. Okay, this one's interesting. So as the online digital space grows, it seems inevitable that products and services will migrate from the 2D Web 2 to the 3D Web 3 world. I'm not sure if 2D, 3D makes any sense in this context, but still. So the Web 3 world of metaverses. With this in mind, what are some of the biggest advantages of the reputation augmented persistent identities that Galactica Net enables on its base layer? Are there any challenges Galactica Net foresees? And if so, what are the strategies which will be adopted to overcome those? So Galactica Net and metaverses and our reputation framework. What do we think?
I think metaverse-related use cases are quite interesting for Galactica because they can benefit from the people on these metaverses having some kind of authenticity, so that you know, for example, that there's a real human behind it. And what Galactica provides with the zero-knowledge KYC, for example, is an easy way to prove that you are a human, or to prove statements like that you are old enough for something, or that you come from a specific region, you want to associate yourself with the metaverse or whatever. And I think this is quite nice because you can prove this authenticity in a way and still keep your personality as private as you want, so that you, for example, only act as a pseudonymous person in the metaverse. But what I also want to say is that at the moment, metaverse is not our focus or something like this. It's just one of the interesting use cases that will be enabled with the technology Galactica provides. And regarding the challenges, I think there are quite a lot of challenges when building such an ambitious project, and also a project like this that brings kind of paradigm shift that you don't have to share your private data anymore to be compliant, but you can have a much better combination. And one of the challenges, for example, is that the system is decentralized and secure and also efficient. And there are a lot of constraints and goals that you somehow have to bring together to find a good balanced solution that is then also working for the user at the end. And one of these goals, for example, is that it is usable enough to be used by a wide variety of people. And the complexity that is currently behind Galactica still needs to be explained better, in my opinion, and broken down into more simple to understand layers. So this is one of the challenges that I foresee.
Yeah, I mean, we just had this discussion on Discord actually about trying to simplify the technical language down into something that people can understand. In fact, I would invite anyone who is listening right now, if you could firstly join our Discord if you haven't already, and secondly, if you could make sure that you give us if you want to give us like your idea of what Galactica is, regardless of whether it's correct or not. Just type whatever you think Galactica is in a short form as possible in the Discord, and we'd love to just take a look at your replies on that one. Sorry, Mike T, you had your hand up. I apologize, please.
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you a bit more about the reputation, maybe. So basically, we're building the platform for the reputation, which allows anybody to set up own formula for calculating it. This is at least how it looks like now and how we see it now, because it is hard to invent like one formula for calculating reputation that is okay for every party that can like participate in our network activities. For example, the classical formula that we will come up with is the formula that we will use for our governance, because as it is planned, our governance voting power will rely on the stake and the reputation. And in that case, I think reputation will represent the majority of the maturity of an account, how much like actions it has, how much it is used, how old is it, and all this stuff. So the old members will have more reputation and more voting power as a result. But talking about reputation as a platform, actually anybody can come up with their own formula, and it can be a complicated formula which has a lot of aspects, or maybe it can be a simple formula that like only includes I don't know, the actions that were performed in some like special metaverse, maybe some specific actions. So it can be like technical use to provide a score for some specific parameter of an account. And basically you can have several reputation metrics, which are the reputation in technical terms, but basically you can like score kindness of a person if like the conversation or some actions are recorded on the chain, or maybe his other side. So basically it's just a platform, what I'm trying to say, and it allows you to just like collect analytics on a soul, like let's say it like that, and so the use cases are quite higher. There are like a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that massively interests me, and just how people are going to end up using this framework that we've built.
Yeah, because it can be any metric, to be honest. And about the challenges, it is actually quite challenging to build such a system that will support processing of such amounts of data, and that will allow actually any user to come up with the reputation formula. And it is complicated not only from the technical side, but actually also from the financial side, from the economical side of the network, because we need to understand like who is paying for all those calculations, and how we can make it feasible for the validators.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a reason why it's taken so long for anyone to come up with a properly viable like on-chain reputation framework. It's a huge deal, and I think honestly, I genuinely think that Galactica Network we've kind of come up with a tech stack that's viable for it, that makes a lot of sense. So we just need to get into the implementation of all this, and hopefully by building with the community, with the DevNet and the testnet, we'll come up with a system that works for everyone, and it will allow you to like actually start transacting not just with your money, but with your social capital, which is something that's been completely lacking in the crypto space up until this kind of this point.
Sure.
So actually making DAOs and stuff that work, making governance systems that actually work and are fair, rather than just token gated. This is the kind of stuff that reputation on chain fixes. So I think if you're interested in building a community and actually having that community represented on chain, Galactica Network is going to be the place to do it. I genuinely think it's going to be a very interesting time in the next few years and months and years. Yes, I think. Oh, sorry, Frederik. Please, you have your hand up.
Yeah, no problem. I wanted to come back to the liquid staking question. Is it okay, or do you want to continue with the other one?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I wanted to answer this question, because I looked it up earlier, and again, the question was about liquid staking on Galactica, because this is quite impactful for the governance process, and also the context of the question was around the balance we try to find between, he called it the capitalistic approach and the democratic approach, so that we don't only have one token, one vote, but instead on Galactica you can do one human, one vote voting systems or reputation-based voting systems. And what I needed to look up is actually to which degree liquid staking is a problem in the Cosmos ecosystem, in the way that people that do liquid staking are not able to contribute as much as intended to the resistance of the protocol itself. I had to look into the staking module of the Cosmos SDK and also what solutions are around there in the Cosmos ecosystem for liquid staking. And I think it definitely also applies to Galactica. So also on Galactica, people will be able to set up a system for liquid staking. And I can also understand the user's point of view that liquid staking makes a lot of sense for them because there is an unlock period in the Cosmos staking module. That means that if you, as a user, want to contribute your funds to the staking system, that it is looked up for more than 2 weeks before you can withdraw it after unstaking. And this is, of course, an incentive that brings people into the system. And if they delegated their funds to this liquid staking, they cannot use it in a way to participate as intended to the governance system of Galactica. And this is kind of a problem. And one way how we tackle it and try to solve it is actually how we define the voting power in our governance module. So as I already said, we want to get away from the one token, one vote system, and the voting power function we're using is actually using the square root distribution. So if an account acquires more and more stake, the voting power does not increase linearly, but instead in square root function. So if you double your funds, you do not double your voting power, but you only get the square root of that. And this helps because then the funds delegated to liquid staking do not get as much voting power as they would in the user's wallets. And therefore the impact of liquid staking systems is also limited to some degree. And this, in my opinion, is also an advantage of the system we have on Galactica compared to what is there, for example, on Ethereum, where you have systems like Lido that make up huge portions of the staking system, and also for Galactica, the governance is quite important.
So I'm right in thinking, just from a technical perspective, that basically, at least over time, your self-sovereign reputation on Galactica Network will probably be the primary driver of your your governance and your weight, your voting power and your voting weight, that kind of thing, right?
Thanks for mentioning it. I forgot it between all the other things. The voting power function is actually a product between this square root of your funds and the square root of your reputation. So both contribute to the actual voting power and the governance system. And you can have a really tiny amount of funds, and a huge reputation will have the same impact as someone with huge funds but no reputation.
Perfect. Well, that was a really cool question. I think that was either Sen or it was Planet Stake, actually. I can't remember which one of them. Whoever it was, please let me know. But that was a great question. Thank you for it. If you have any more really good questions, guys, anyone who's listening right now, you can do a couple of things. You can put them in the comment section of this space below, alongside your like and retweet, please. That'd be great. Or you can jump onto our Discord, which is the better way. So if you go onto our Discord, you will be able to see a channel called AMA Questions. You can just put any question you want in there. It doesn't matter how out there the question might be. We will attempt to answer it in one way or another, either on Discord, or we'll bring it onto Spaces if it's like a really good, interesting question. So yeah, hopefully you can give us the opportunity to answer your questions just by jumping onto the AMA Questions channel in Discord. Of course, by jumping into Discord, you also get the opportunity to join our Cypher State campaign and earn your Galactica Network citizenship early, which was another massive benefit, as well as just talk to all your fellow future citizens, which is awesome. So we'll just move on to the next question. So this one's a bit more simplistic, I think. Will Galactica Net be partnering with one KYC provider at first, and then perhaps more after more will start to come online, or will there be several options at the start? As far as I'm aware, there will be probably one or two to begin with, like a very small number to begin with, because the KYC providers will have to be fully vetted, fully trusted to bootstrap the KYC process before everything starts turning to reputation based. Is that correct, Frederik? Is that about right, Mike D? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's correct. We already have KYC partners that are trying out the system and talking to us. And of course, in the future, we want to go to a scalable system because we want to cover the whole world, but it's not really easy to do this in a direct communication. So I think later the reputation system is really good for also rating the authenticity of KYC providers.
Yeah, 100%. So for anyone who's not aware, just what we're kind of talking about here, we're talking about Galactica's Guardians. So this is basically a primary method of on-chain, off-chain communication. So say you have, we'll use a different example than a KYC provider. We'll say if you have a university off-chain, the Guardian is essentially a notary function. So you could notarize your degree, and you could notarize your degree on-chain in the form of a ZK proof, and then you could selectively disclose that information privately to any entity on-chain. So it's this private on-chain, off-chain link that allows you to interact in a variety of ways on-chain using this information from off-chain without compromising your privacy. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question well enough. We will just move on to the next one. This one's actually quite interesting and it involves voting systems. So the question is as such: could the Galactica Network be used as a base layer to hold, for example, cantonal votes in Switzerland? Each citizen of the canton would get an account made by the government, and could votes anonymous thanks to your ZK. Oh, sorry, could votes be anonymous thanks to your ZK technology? Or is Galactica Network just a state for its own and not usable for other already existing institutions? Whoever thinks they can answer that best, please.
Maybe I can start. I think from a technical point of view, Galactica is really good for such voting systems, because the zero knowledge aspect again allows you to have a anonymous vote to prove that your votes are included in the voting process. And also an important part on the blockchain, of course, is that you prove that you're actually a real human voting and that you haven't voted already in these kinds of points. And this really works well with the technology we have. But I think, to be honest, if you want to go to a Swiss canton and propose it to the voting system, they will probably say no, just because it's not a widely adopted improved system yet. So they probably need some time to get used to systems like Galactica is offering. And on the other hand, also we as Galactica and the crypto industry as a whole, I think has to get a bit more usable so that a big enough portion of the population can actually use the system in the right way to participate.
I think that's a very interesting thing here because obviously Galactica Network itself has a baked-in governance system that we're designing for maximum fairness in a meritocratic kind of manner. But I think Galactica Network, with the presence of like the Sybil resistance and the reputation framework that we have, would serve as an excellent framework for just about any DAO you can think of, for like whatever voting system that DAO would wish to implement, right?
But
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, so I think that for the like a country, I think that to make a public vote on something, everybody should be included. So this is possible only in case all the citizens of the country have accounts in Gala and have passed KYC, and they all can take part there, which is maybe a big problem still, I think.
Yeah, unless the Swiss government decided to become a guardian for Galactica Network.
Yeah, but they will need to issue passports on the network instead of printing them in paper.
Of course,
and after a few years, when all the citizens have these electronic passports, I think it will become the reality. Because now when you have most of the passports, I mean all the passports are in paper, you vote in paper. Just
That's
to keep
cool.
the same rights for everyone, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we're a bit biased, I will admit, but I think the best passport is your Galactica Network citizenship passport. So just make sure you guys are paying attention to the pin tweet above, because I couldn't say it any more bluntly. It should be of note to you that you can get into the you can get a very, very early Galactica Network citizenship distribution wave just by completing the Zeely quests and joining our Discord. So we are, if you're in this room right now, I can tell you, we're immensely early as far as our stage of development right now on Galactica Network. We've only just started, we've only just run up our DevNet. So if there are any developers in the audience, just take note of that. We are currently testing our ZK KYC framework, I believe. Is that right, Mikey? On the DevNet? Or Frederik, whoever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if there are any devs who are interested in starting to test some of the more like the ZK KYC framework on Galactica Network, then please, by all means, just go to galactica.com, and there's a big old button that says DevNet up there. So make sure you check that out. If you have any questions at all, make sure you join our Discord or DM us privately or use the email form. We'll be more than happy to help you out with that. Native, you have your hand up, mate. Please. Hi.
Yeah, sorry, boys. One more question in regards to that. How does a layer one or aspiring layer one find developers to build on their network, and more importantly, how, if at all, can an enthusiastic community help find those developers to bring them over, or just sort of direct traffic towards the towards Galactica if they wanted to do that?
I think that the fact that we are EVM compatible is making most of the stuff, because most of the protocols from Ethereum that are used to, they can be forked with minimal changes to support the KYCs, because I think that for most of the protocols, they will only need to check that the person has KYC, and then they don't need to have any specific checks. So I think this makes things easier. And for the other protocols which may need more changes in the code, I think that we're working on a grants program already. Not sure if we published something about it, but it's on the go.
Not yet. It hasn't been published yet, but it is in the works. So yeah, I mean, I think there are two forms of how you really get on board these developers native. So you've got the just the pure like networking, which is the kind of thing that with such stuff that I just did there. I asked the audience if there might be any developers amongst them who are interested, and directed them to the DevNet. But there's also the incentivization, which is as Mike was just suggesting there, a grant program, and the ability to, and basically asking developers to come on board and to either take a system that they already have or build a new system in a variety of topics that make sense on Galactica Network. And hopefully what we're really hoping is that both protocols that already exist and new developers who want to build something from scratch would really want to take advantage of the reputation features that are available on Galactica Network and start creating the kind of stuff that just doesn't exist in blockchain yet. So that's the stuff we're going for right now. The new and the interesting and the innovative.
Yeah, and I'm guessing the way the community can help is by things like this, I guess, retweeting and stuff like that, and just trying to get the name of Galactica out there so it gets more known.
100%, mate. 100%. Yeah. So
cheers, boys.
You have your hand up, mate.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said. And there's one thing I wanted to also add, because I think, at least for me as a developer, it is quite a strong point, that also the features and the technology behind it is kind of unique and standing out and drawing developers to the system. Because there's I think, wide base of developers that know how to code, for example, EVM smart contracts, and now they see that there's Galactica, a system where you can do something that was not possible on the chain they had before. Because on Galactica, you have all the sanitization, the technology with zero knowledge to get the privacy and compliance together. And this probably allows use cases that they couldn't do on other chains. And in my opinion, I think we also solved it quite nicely, that you can benefit on Galactica from zero knowledge without having to go too deep into the math, which is really complicated. And you can build solutions on top of the zero knowledge circuits we provide for kind of the standard KYC or simple disclosures, and then they can then build on top of those without needing to go too deep into the zero knowledge cryptography.
Yeah, that's definitely been a primary concern throughout the development, I think, is just this overarching understanding that what we're building is incredibly technical in nature and needs to be incredibly simple, or at least as simple as it can be on the UI UX side. I think that's one of the challenges that we're attacking head on, I think. Okay, so I think we've just got one more question, guys. So before I ask this question, I'll just invite everyone again. This will probably be the last call for anyone who wants to just request to speak and come up and ask a question. Maybe you've heard what we've spoken about so far. You're not entirely sure what Galactica is still. Maybe you just want to ask a simple question. That's more than welcome. We're happy to answer any questions you have. So if you wish to, please just request to speak, and we're happy to answer. If you don't wish to speak, then please just take the time to just jump down and give us a like and a retweet on the space. We try to educate people up here, as well as obviously we have Galactica, and we really want to make sure that everyone knows about Galactica. We also want to make sure everyone just gets some good education when we're talking about these subjects, because a lot of them are fundamental to the crypto space, and they'll just be good education for everyone involved. Okay, so the last question, guys. the last short that in the last short that we posted, that the sorry, 2 seconds. I apologize. I'm either not reading this wrong or misunderstanding. Proofs, the proof statements to a DApp are generated in your browser. Metamask has access to your browser data. They're asking if Metamask has access to our browser data, and is there a risk that Metamask can link the KYC to your address? I think that's probably one for Frederik, I believe.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the question. I think this is a good one. I think it maybe helps to first step a bit back to understand how the system is designed and where the different parts of the storage and the computation take place. Because Metamask is a system, and the company consensus behind it does not have direct access to what's happening inside of the Metamask instance that is running on your laptop. So Metamask is a browser extension, is executed on your machine, so your computer or laptop where you installed it, and in there also all the cryptography, the key handling for your signatures, and what we add to MetaMask in the self-sovereign identity and self-custody is processed on your computer. And this is something we do on purpose, because we do not want that your personal data is leaving to the internet. It should stay under your control, and MetaMask was the best option to do this and user self-custody. But of course, there's the risk that the company behind MetaMask is publishing a malicious update or something like this, and therefore people are there are a couple things you can do to mitigate this risk, that the software of MetaMask is changed, and one of those is using a hardware wallet. So if you use a hardware wallet, the key that you use for authenticating your transactions on chain is actually not handled by MetaMask itself. So MetaMask doesn't know about what key is signing something. And the second one is that you can disable automatic updating and also check the code that is published in MetaMask before you install it in your browser. But to be honest, I think this risk is really low, because it's around the same level as the software keys in MetaMask getting leaked to the company. So your personal data is at least as safe as all the software keys managed by MetaMask. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. But yes, I think one of the things that comes out of that is that yes, it's one of those things that's very, very. It's an excellent question, and it brings out one of these security concerns that might might sound scary or intimidating, but is in fact incredibly low risk. And easily mitigated through a variety of factors, through a variety of methods. And yeah, I think it's absolutely freaking amazing that you're not only going to be able to self-sovereignly hold your assets, but also your data. I mean, that's honestly, that's next level. And I'm wondering, Mike T, did you have a part in the functionality here, or is this all Frederik's domain?
Do you want me to come in on this question? I think Frederik answered it perfectly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was just asking if you had a part in it, that's all.
Yeah, sure.
That's cool. Okay, guys. So I think after that very, very thorough explanation, we can simply move on to the final part of the show. So it's been absolutely freaking amazing, guys. It's been a great space. We've got an awful lot of information out. So I'd like to just repeat my call from earlier. I'd be very interested if everyone listening or anyone listening would be willing to provide just a very quick description of what they think Galactica is, because that would be very insightful for us as a team as to what our community actually considers Galactica and what it means to them. So if you have such a thought, it would be really good if you could just post that in Discord. I'd love to read them, and it would add a lot of value to the team, I think. Trying to, in our mission to try and explain Galactica to everyone in a way that actually makes sense, and try and get over the technical language and try and describe it in a way that makes sense to users. So yeah, that would really help us, and it would help us in the building of Galactica Network itself. So this has been absolutely wonderful episode, guys. Again, we actually do 2 spaces. This is the Friday cast, the Galactica Core cast. This one is designed for you guys, for the community, so that you can come up and basically have a completely direct line of communication with the team, the tech team especially, so you can get just about any question you want answered. We also host the Into the Cypher State podcast on a Tuesday. That one is with partners, with various key opinion leaders, and we basically discuss the most important topics of the day in the crypto space. It's a really good show. I thoroughly recommend you guys join that one as well. And we get some great people on there. We've got a really big one coming up next week, in fact. So please make sure you join that one. I think the links are all in the Discords or in the announcements. So make sure you set your reminders for that one. If we could just do one more reminder for just giving us a like and a retweet on this space. I know we're actually just winding down right now, but it really helps us get the recording out to more people. We've had an amazing upturn in people listening to the recording after the show has gone out. So that indicates to me that like our community is growing and that we're getting a lot more people on board who are actually interested in the content. So that's really good, and I'm really thankful for that. So a like and a retweet would be really thoroughly appreciated. I think I'll just ask, guys, Frederik, I don't know if you just want to give us a final remark or if you just want to say goodbye, my friend. It's been a great one, mate.
Yeah, thanks all of you. Thanks, Dave, for moderating, Mike for also being here. All the listeners also, I'm really grateful for everyone, and especially the questions we got. And I'm also really interested in what you're going to post on Discord, or what you think Galactica is, because in my opinion, it also shows what aspects of Galactica are important for you. We have a lot of different aspects, like the zero knowledge part, the governance, and so on. And hearing what you think makes the most important parts of Galactica also helps us to focus a bit more on getting on prioritizing those. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having me. Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming up, Mike T. It's great having you. It really is. Look forward to having you on the next shows as well. We'll probably have a lot more questions and a lot more people asking questions. That'd be great. Okay, guys. So I'll just give you one more reminder before we go. Please just check the pin tweet. Again, our Discord is the hub for everything as far as Galactica Network goes. So make sure you join our Discord. And if you are willing, and if you find it interesting, please check out the Zeely campaign that will allow you to rank up in Discord and gain your Galactica Network citizenship, either as an airdrop if you go into one of the higher ranks, or you'll be able to. It will gain you access into. It will gain you your Galactica Network citizenship in one of the earliest distribution waves. It's highly valuable. You should definitely check it out and start ranking up. You guys in here right now are the earliest of our community members. We've been building this protocol for a year and a half at least, and we've only just stuck our head above water as far as social goes. So you guys are our early community, and we really appreciate you guys. That's why we're calling for your feedback. It's why we're so interested in what you think. We are genuinely curious about what you think of the protocol, about what you think we can improve, and about what you want from being a citizen of the very first on-chain Cypher State. It's a whole new concept, a whole new paradigm, and we're glad you're here. We're here with us for it. Okay, guys. So I would just like to say very much thank you, everyone, for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for all your questions. And hopefully, I'd just like to say maybe have a really good weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. I hear it's going to be nice in some parts of the world. So enjoy that. And we'll see you next time on the very next episode of the Galactica Corecast. Have a good one, guys. See you soon.